VCF automation enables IT to deliver a self-service private cloud for AI, Kubernetes, and VM-based application. The solution makes it easier for IT teams, providers of IT services, to jumpstart and scale a multi-tenant cloud with new public cloud-like IaaS services. In addition to the curated self-service catalog we're all familiar with, to help bring applications to market faster while maintaining control with governance and policies. VCF automation helps VI admins to evolve into cloud admins that can offer self-service consumption of infrastructure resources as a service to application teams, those developers, DevOps engineers, data scientists, and low-tech users. With VCF automation, IT admins can support a modern multi-cloud interface with supervisor services, infrastructure as code, private AI automation, workload lifecycle management, orchestration and extensibility, governance and policies, tenant management, and content management. With these capabilities, the solution enables application teams to get the necessary infrastructure and make changes when needed. Application teams are no longer forced to worry about the intricacies of the underlying infrastructure and can focus on application development. If we want to talk about what's new in VCF automation in one snapshot slide, this is it. The three key strategic pillars comprise VCF automation. One is tenant management, which helps the IT admins and service providers take their VCF infrastructure and allocate pieces of the infrastructure to tenants. These tenants could be either end consumers in the case of a service provider, or just internal lines of business in the case of enterprise IT. A good example would be Rackspace, a service provider with Coke and Pepsi as tenants. The service provider can use the tenant management functionality to carve out the VCF infrastructure among one or many tenants. Another example of the enterprise use case is Broadcom IT. They are using this capability for their 26 divisions to share one extensive VCF infrastructure, and they are using tenant management to allocate infrastructure to each division, like the VCF division, the Tanzu division, ANS division. Beyond organizing and allocating resources in Tenant Manager, we also consider identity providers. Each tenant may have their own identity providers. And last but not least, once the provider allocates these tenants, they want to be able to manage how the tenants are utilizing the environment so they can perform chargeback functions. So with that, the first pillar of tenant management, you may be saying, hey, this sounds a lot like VCD, and you're not wrong. We actually pulled these capabilities from VCD into VCF automation. The middle pillar is cloud governance. Cloud governance is all about the tenants or the lines of business admins. Once they receive the allocated infrastructure, they can apply governance policies for their different application teams. This could be quotas, leases, naming, and even resource policies. Another part of governance among application team admins would be enforcing only specific configuration workloads being provisioned by their end users. They don't want their end users to be able to provision anything they want. The application team admins may wish to create a blueprint that mandates you must have these kinds of VMs configured in a specific manner with a specific load balancer connected to it and the software to install. So you may define a blueprint and then publish it as a catalog item for self-service consumption, which is a form of governance that our customers love today. The third piece of governance is around workflow orchestration. If you think about any kind of provisioning VMs or Kubernetes clusters or anything in the cloud, it's not just a standalone thing. Every VM that is provisioned inevitably requires you to orchestrate many workflows. It could be registering the VM in a CMDB or integrating it with other software. We see this as a norm in every company where they have some workflow orchestration that is required as part of their provisioning process. The last pillar, the most important from my perspective, is the end user experience. The end user we mentioned before gets a self-service catalog-based experience of curated blueprint content from the providers, the line of business admins, or the application team admins. In addition, these end users for the first time also get a public cloud-like IaaS experience for VCF. When they enter the VCF private cloud organization portal, they automatically start seeing IaaS services like virtual machine provisioning, Kubernetes provisioning, networking, and so on. With this end user experience, we offer a wide range of extensible services like object storage, data services, and backup, with the vSphere Supervisor providing this capability. We take the power of supervisor based services and expose them to the end users through VCF automation. So, looking at these three pillars, you'll know that it's not just an incremental upgrade. This brings together the tenant management capabilities of ECD, the governance projects and blueprint capabilities from ARIA Automation, along with new supervisor-based capabilities in vSphere for the end users. All of this put together is the new VCF automation. In VCF 9, supervisor services are exposed across your environments, and users have a choice to consume these services via UI, CLI, or Kubernetes native APIs. They've got multiple ways to access and consume services, just like they would in any public cloud. Each service is namespace scoped, meaning it operates within defined resource boundaries. The model provides a self-service experience that dev teams can move as fast as they can to consume the infrastructure without the complexity and wait times for tickets. By now, you probably understand that VCF automation powers the private cloud self-service experience and isn't just a simple provisioning tool. In VCF automation, there are three new concepts that you need to be aware of. VCF automation introduces governance and consumption models. The enterprise service provider governance and consumption model is about whether a customer requires multi-tenancy or not. Multi-tenancy is a cloud computing architecture where a single instance of software and/or infrastructure services serve multiple customers, known as tenants or organizations, while keeping their data, processes, and infrastructure that compute, storage, and network isolated from other tenants. In other words, each organization has a dedicated environment. Many enterprise customers may not require such a type of multi-tenancy, and a single tenant model is sufficient, where sharing resources but segregating data and processes via RBAC is okay. Historically, ARIA Automation supported this type of enterprise customer. Enterprises that operate like service provider, for example Broadcom, may require multi-tenancy that has infrastructure isolation requirements. Historically, BCD supported this type of enterprise customer. VCF automation can now support both kinds of enterprise customers. Most enterprise customers may not care about multi-tenancy, so determine how much time you want to spend discussing this model depending on your customer. The traditional modern workload governance and consumption model is about whether you need to support all types of apps, AI, Kubernetes, VM-based, or only VM-based apps. It's very important to be aware that the default experience for VCF automation supports all types of apps delivered via the org for all apps experience. This is the new model that VMware would like all customers to adopt and consume. It is the strategic direction of the VCF product. The supervisor technology in the underlying vSphere enables this experience. However, some customers, including ARIA automation customers, may not be ready for this experience. In that case, as a back pocket solution, we offer an org for VM apps experience that provides an ARIA automation 8x experience for VM-only workloads. We highly encourage customers to adopt the new experience. However, we understand that it may take time for some customers to adopt this newer model. Organization for all apps in an organization used to run a wide variety of applications, including VMs, Kubernetes, data services, etc. This organization type can be used to create multiple tenants with secure infrastructure isolation, quotas, and chargeback. The organization for VM apps is an organization used to support VM-based application, powered by vSphere clusters. VMware ARIA automation customers can use this organization to continue to leverage the ARIA automation capabilities to provision VM-based applications via catalogs, apply policies, etc. Note, we are not forcing customers to migrate from the old experience to the new experience. Customers are encouraged to explore the new experience and adopt transition at their own pace. The self-service IaaS catalog is about providing a flexible consumption and control model with a choice of consumption methods. Organizations can choose how much control they want to enforce based on their internal policies or operational styles. They can balance the right amount of self service consumption and apply controls at varying levels in various environments and stages of an application's life cycle, from conception, deployment, development, management, maintenance, and retirement. The self service catalog is a provider oriented approach, which is ideal for production environments, where the provider, example the platform engineer, offers a curated catalog with pre approved standardized application blueprints. This is the approach that ARIA Automation has always supported. In VCF 9, we are introducing self-service IaaS, which is a consumer-oriented approach which is ideal for dev test environments, where consumers can freely consume the out-of-the-box IaaS services on demand, just like a public cloud, similar to EC2, EKS, EBS, and AWS, for maximum productivity and efficiency. Through the Kubernetes CLI, UI, or API, users can create VMs, VKS clusters, log into the VKS cluster, and apply applications. Application teams can also gain self-service networking based on governance established by the enterprise IT admin and org admin. Let's walk through key personas for adoption and consumption of VCF from a VCF automation concept. There are two types of users: the provider of IT services and the consumers of the private cloud. Note that the personas are on a continuum, and the role is relative to who is receiving services versus providing services. The providers are concerned with organizing infrastructure, resources among tenants and line of businesses, setting up networking, managing tenant utilization and chargeback, and managing the services ecosystem for tenants. The org admin enables the new consumption experience with projects, vSphere namespaces, and VPCs. They enforce and create policies for quotas, leases, approvals, and IaaS, and can also manage content. End users can consume self-service IaaS services and the catalog, perform day 2 actions on workloads and IaaS services, and gain visibility into workload operations. A modern private cloud provides multi-tenancy. Multi-tenancy is an architecture in which a software platform and infrastructure serve multiple isolated tenants, such as different teams, departments, or customers. Each tenant utilizes the underlying hardware and software resources, but operates in a logically isolated environment with separate resources, data, configurations, and access controls. Let's look at how VMware Cloud Foundation achieves this. vSphere zones correspond to vSphere clusters and delineate CPU and memory resources for workload placement. They do not include storage and networking. Zones are isolated to ensure that failures in one zone do not affect others. Zones operate within the supervisor to direct Kubernetes and VM scheduling, facilitating resilient workload distribution across fault domains. The vSphere Supervisor integrates a Kubernetes control plane into vSphere, enabling customers to run both VMs and containerized applications. Developers use Kubernetes tools, while IT manages resources through the vSphere interface. There is no need for a separate container platform. This unifies virtual machines and cloud-native applications in a single infrastructure. At the VCF automation level, regions are a logical grouping of compute, storage, VM classes, and network resources. Typically, they are aligned with a geographic location. They facilitate resource allocation from tenants with different service levels. Each region comprises one or more supervisors and, supports performance, capacity, and feature-based segmentation. Organizations are top-level constructs that isolate tenants and groups, users, policies, services, and resources within predefined boundaries. They provide centralized access control, governance, and usage-based billing. Providers assign regional quotas to organizations, specifying the capacity and number of vSphere zones available to each. With the underlying infrastructure, services, and controls in place, the organization admin creates projects. A project is a logic construct that groups namespaces and their related VPCs, or virtual private clouds, users, and policies under a single administrative boundary. This simplifies management by allowing each project to have dedicated IP spaces, access controls, and security policies that do not interfere with other projects. A VPC is an isolated virtual network environment that delivers cloud like networking capabilities within your on premise data center. It includes components configured by the organization admin, such as subnets, routers, and NAT, to enable easy self service access to networking resources for tenants. Each VPC provides isolation, making it ideal for multi tenancy, development environments, and application owner segmentation. Within a VPC, one or more vSphere namespaces provide the resources from a vSphere supervisor cluster where Kubernetes workloads can operate. It serves as a container for applications, integrating the concept of Kubernetes namespaces with vSphere specific features such as resource limits, access controls, storage policies, and container networking settings. End users, such as developers and app owners, can access these resources in a self service manner, while organization admins and provider admins ensure security and governance. End users can deploy virtual machines and modern applications without configuring or understanding the underlying infrastructure. This approach helps control costs and facilitates faster development cycles, enhancing speed to market. The first step involves creating a region. A region consists of one or more supervisors and provides organizations with a collection of compute, memory, storage, and networking resources. It can extend across multiple vCenter instances, provided that supervisors communicate with the same NSX instance. For example, within the same network boundaries, a region typically aligned with a geographical entity such as, let's say, US East. Next, we add an organization. An organization is a top level entity that groups and manages resources, users, policies, IaaS services, and catalog entities while maintaining a secure boundary from other organizations. It provides centralized billing, access control, and resource sharing structure, facilitating collaboration and governance across teams, departments, business units, or entire companies. IP spaces provide a structured method for providers to allocate IP addresses to various organizations, facilitating connectivity to external networks. Quotas may be utilized to manage usage, and for internal communication, organizations can independently manage their own IP address blocks. Provider gateways allow organizations to connect to external networks. A provider gateway utilizes the NSX Tier 0 gateway or T0, virtual private routing and forwarding (VRF) tables, and links them with IP addresses from IP spaces that can be advertised through those gateways. A provider gateway may be assigned to one or more organizations. Regional network settings determine the network resources available to an organization in a specific region. These settings enable administrators to assign provider gateways, edge clusters, and IP spaces to organizations, facilitating external connectivity, routing, and IP address management. This configuration ensures that each organization can access the necessary infrastructure for north-south traffic, high availability, and tenant isolation. With VCF automation, you can select multiple vSphere zones to deploy applications. This flexibility enables application teams to optimize resource utilization, enhance application performance, and ensure redundancy across different zones, ultimately improving the reliability and scalability of their deployments. By ensuring organization isolation at the networking level and aligning with NSX tenancy constructs, we provide comprehensive network isolation throughout the stack while guaranteeing immediate internal and external connectivity upon the creation of the organization. Improved compliance and security measures ensure consistent policy enforcement across lines of business, minimizing human error while adhering to organizational and regulatory standards. IT administrators can also provide organizations with a comprehensive private cloud experience supported by an extensible managed service ecosystem from VMware. Enhanced cost visibility and control are achieved by providing deeper insights into the consumption of cloud infrastructure through chargeback and showback methods. This approach allows for more informed decision making and proactive resource management. These controls effectively manage consumption, prevent over provisioning, and help eliminate unnecessary costs. A supervisor can be deployed on three vSphere zones to provide clusters with high availability and fault tolerance, which is essential for building highly reliable applications. First, ensure that each organization is isolated from one another in terms of networking and compute resources. Next, establish network isolation for different application teams within each organization by using VPCs. Finally, implement a transit gateway to facilitate communication between VPCs and to enable connectivity with external networks outside the organization. Enterprise IT admins manage resources and set quota policies for each organization. They control identity, permissions, and operations, and they organize content management across different lines of businesses. Additionally, IT admins can provide various managed services such as encryption, backup, and data management using services created by VMware and third-party software vendors. For example, Veeam for backup services. Additionally, if desired, customers can apply custom branding and can be created for each organization within VCF automation, allowing for a distinct branding experience for each organization. With the quick setup feature, we have streamlined the process for IT admins, enabling them to establish organizations more efficiently. Instead of thinking about every detail from the beginning, they can start with a basic setup, with VCF automation guiding IT admins through the initial setup tasks. The automatic creation of projects and vSphere namespaces by default accelerates the process of provisioning workloads almost immediately. Additionally, having a default virtual private cloud setup establishes a network isolation domain within the organization, laying the groundwork for future scalability when multiple network isolation domains are needed. When opting out of the quick setup, no configurations are set up. However, the product provides get started guided workflows to assist in completing the necessary steps, which enhances organization onboarding and support. These guided workflows can help to streamline the learning process, making it easier for administrators to understand and effectively utilize the system, ultimately leading to better customer satisfaction and engagement. With modern infrastructure and a multi-tenant environment established, more use cases are enabled, such as infrastructure as a service and catalog items in VCF automation, which offer self-service virtual infrastructure provisioning. It provides a library of standardized IaaS resource policy-driven templates that outline compute, storage, and networking resources, ensuring that each organization can deploy infrastructure within its designated boundaries. With integrated role-based access control, users can provision resources on demand while IT retains centralized governance, compliance, and oversight. This streamlines operations, accelerates delivery, and empowers teams to work independently without compromising security or standardization. With our comprehensive suite of out-of-the-box services, the core VM, Kubernetes, network, and volume, and the extended data services and object store services, we simplify the deployment and management of IT resources. This allows organizations to quickly scale their infrastructure needs, reduce operational complexities, and focus more on innovation and development rather than on maintaining disparate systems. Out of the box supervisor services and their associated services are exposed across VCF environments and aggregated into a common endpoint that can be accessed through a choice of interfaces, whether it's the UI, the CLI, or declarative Kubernetes IaaS API. for self-service consumption. Users can leverage a variety of supervisor services, such as VM service that allows you to declaratively define and provision VMs, VKS service for deploying Kubernetes clusters, network service to deploy load balancers, and the volume service to perform persistent volumes. Supervisor services that help you extend the capabilities of the IaaS platform, like Harbor for OCI image registry or Cert Manager for certificate management, and the list goes on. The self-service IaaS is an end-user approach. End users and app teams can freely consume the out-of-the-box supervisor services, just like a public cloud for maximum productivity and efficiency. End users and app teams can deploy and manage VMs alongside Kubernetes clusters and other vSphere-based resources using a unified management experience. One benefit of allowing enterprise IT admins to have more control in their environment is enhanced security. With increased control, admins can implement stricter access controls, monitor system activities more closely, and enforce compliance with organizational policies, reducing the risk of unauthorized access or data breaches. One benefit of providing application teams with more flexibility to consume self-service IaaS is the acceleration of development and testing cycles. By allowing teams to quickly provision and configure the necessary infrastructure on demand, they can focus more on writing and testing code rather than waiting for resources, leading to faster time to market for new features and enhancements. The catalog experience allows users to provision traditional, monitor, and generative AI applications. Each catalog item is supported by templates that have been developed and published for the project teams. It is designed for users to utilize the templates provided in the catalog easily. Create on-demand resources like VMs, Kubernetes, volumes, networks, and storage. This is ideal for users who wish to utilize the design canvas to create resources from scratch and publish them to the catalog. With VCF automation, you can implement a YAML-based approach to policy as code to enforce best practices for your resources and apply security configurations. Let's scroll down to view the policy as code. And let's go ahead and click Load Policy Template. The predefined out-of-the-box templates are designed to streamline the implementation of policies as code for both initial setup, day 0, and ongoing management, day 2, of Kubernetes and VM environments. These templates serve as a solid foundation, allowing users to easily customize and fine-tune their policies through a user-friendly interface or directly via the Kubernetes command line interface, ensuring a tailored approach to meet specific operational needs. So, with label enforced selected, let's go ahead and click Load. In this example, we're enforcing the label prod to be applied on all virtual machine resources. With governance for users and resources, IT admins can enable effective resource management through capabilities like reservations and limits, ensuring that critical applications receive the necessary resources while avoiding over-provisioning, which leads to cost savings. Organization admins can create and manage multiple projects while assigning specific users to each project. After the creation of a project, vSphere namespaces can be created. Organization admins can create and configure namespaces with namespace classes to set up quotas, reservations, content libraries, and virtual private clouds. The vSphere namespace is an advanced resource pool that provides features such as utilization, reservation limits, and the ability to provision various IaaS services. The namespace class is a template that can be tailored based on the specific needs of the namespace, whether they are small, medium, or large. It enforces limits on resources consumption to prevent individual users from monopolizing resources, especially in multi-tenant environments. Organization admins can also gain insights into utilization at the organizational, project, vSphere namespace, and infrastructure level for VMs and VKS clusters. Also, organization admins can view cost at the organization level, region quota, and namespace levels. Centralized content management enables IT admins to easily discover, create, and allocate content libraries directly within VCF automation, reducing complexity, minimizing errors, and streamlining the overall management process. This leads to increased efficiency and better resource allocation for customers. By consolidating, the IT admin can publish content, and the organization admin can create imported content in one place. VCF automation simplifies sharing resources across various projects. This enhances collaboration among team members and ensures that everybody has quick access to the necessary tools and assets, which ultimately improves project execution and boosts overall productivity. The ability for organization admins to publish content to the self-service catalog streamlines access to resources by allowing quick publication with a single click. This enables end users and app teams to independently consume resources without waiting for approvals. This empowerment fosters innovation and boosts productivity while allowing organization admins to effectively manage and update content, ensuring end users and app teams can access the latest information. The improved user experience by integrating the Orchestrator UI into the VCF Automation UI under the Orchestrate tab makes it easier to navigate and reduces the need for the separate interfaces. This streamlines workflow creation and management in a consistent environment. The Content Hub was designed specifically for org admins and line of business admin teams to effectively manage a wide array of resources. This includes content libraries, virtual machine images, blueprints, and orchestrator workflow. Users can seamlessly organize and maintain these resources in one location, simplifying the process of sharing them across multiple projects. Org admins can publish content to the self-service catalog with a single click. The streamlined process allows them to make resources readily available to end users and app teams, empowering them to access and utilize the content efficiently. Users can build orchestrator workflows directly from VCF automation. These workflows can be then published into the catalog. By creating network isolation domains, VPCs, for different application teams, organizations can significantly increase their security posture. Each team's resources are separated, which minimizes the risk of data breaches and unauthorized access. Managing IP addresses locally and coordinating them efficiently with IT admins or providers allows for better resource allocation and reduces conflicts. This ensures the applications run smoothly without network disruptions. Set up a dedicated network isolation domain tailored for different application teams within the organization. This ensures that each team operates within the secure environment, minimizing the risk of cross-team interference and enhancing networking security. Allocate the created virtual private clouds to one or more vSphere namespaces. This integration allows for better resource management, ensuring that each namespace can leverage the benefits of its assigned VPC for enhanced isolation and control over network resources. Oversee the distribution and management of IP addresses provided by IT administrators. This includes tracking allocated resources, ensuring proper subnetting, and maintaining an organized IP address inventory to prevent conflicts and streamline network operations. Develop and oversee a range of IP addresses that are specifically designated for use within the organization. This involves planning IP address allocations, managing the lifecycle of those addresses, and ensuring compliance within organizational policies and standards for internal network management.